Welcome, ladies and gents. So, what we can consider, I guess, a bomb, not massive bomb, but still, a bomb this year would be the Eternals. And the producer, Nate Moore, has come out and basically tried to explain why it wasn't so well received, and specifically to do with the Rotten Tomatoes score, which, people put way too much stock in, but it's interesting to compare like for like, movies like for like, franchises, sequels, etc., like for like when it comes to, Rotten Tomatoes. So I thought we'd find this interesting and a little bit comical, quite frankly. So let's dive into it, ladies and gents. So he was on the Ringerverse podcast, basically discussing, Disney Plus Day announcements. And his answer would come after he specifically was asked about Marvel Studios' reaction to the Rotten Tomatoes scores for Eternals and whether it will affect how Marvel makes their movies, which is an interesting question. And, being a producer, he would have some knowledge on that. Not massive, but some knowledge. And he would respond by saying the following. I think it was shocking. I think a little bit of that is expectation. Again, yeah, sure, just blame the audience because they had too higher expectations, I guess. And he continued further. Look, going out of Avengers Endgame, everything was a bit under the microscope. This movie was intended to be the first original after Avengers, and then COVID hit and everything changed. There's that fun little word, COVID again, because why not? And from there, Nate Moore would point out Chloe Zhao's Academy Award winning boost, and that apparently is the thing which gauged people's expectations, which I think is really important, before we dive into what he does actually say, is that, ladies and gents, the average Marvel watcher didn't fucking watch anything to do with Chloe Zhao, don't know anything about Chloe Zhao. I think it's utterly ludicrous to sit there and go, it's because the Academy gave her an award, therefore everyone's expectations changed. No, mate. As a producer, you either are out of touch with your audience because your audience base doesn't know much about the Academy, right? It's Marvel films, let's be honest. Or you're just a liar. It's one of the two. You can pick. Neither is particularly great to be. But, I thought we would just interject and make that statement because, to say that it's because Chloe Zhao won an Academy Award, raising everyone's expectations. No, that's nonsense. So he said the following. In the meantime, Chloe Zhao won an Academy Award, wasn't an Academy Award winner when we hired her. Actually, hadn't made Nomadland when we hired her. So I think the expectation on that movie started to grow, right? No. And he continued further and said there was no Academy Award winner Chloe Zhao. It was Chloe Zhao who did The Rider when we first hired her. She's fantastic and wouldn't take that decision back, but I do think the expectations changed. Right. Okay, so blaming the audience for, blaming the non-existent Marvel audience, really. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some people that know about, Chloe Zhao and the Academy Awards, but your average Joe Marvel viewer is not interested. Your average Marvel viewer is not interested in the Academy. So it's a nonsense statement, but wait, ladies and gents, it gets even better. Because from here, he goes a step further and starts blaming the critics as well. So Moore would then blame the critics themselves for their expectations for the film by saying the following. And I think people, because Eternals didn't have one singular source material that anybody really knew, people started to map on their fantasy version of what the movie was without really having any context of what the movie we were making was about. Right? I mean, that statement alone is some mental gymnastics. However, he would then state, and look, ultimately you make something and you send it out into the world to be judged, and it's judged. You can argue fairly or not. It's kind of not our job to make people decide how they feel about the movie. All we can do is make the movie we believe in the most, and I hope that some people think it is better than Thor: The Dark World. I mean, I love the dunk on Thor there. That's very funny. Because, I mean, it is. That's a movie which deserves dunking on. And so just as a sort of a recap, I guess, of what it is. Top critic score currently sits at 51%. The average rating is 5.8 out of 10, and there are 35 fresh reviews and 33 rotten reviews. Yeah. But that's the interesting thing is that's the comparison between. That's the comparison between Thor: The Dark World. So Thor has 66%, and the audience is at 75%. But then the critics disliked the Eternals even more, apparently. So it's funny that he, interestingly enough, is trying to dunk on Thor. But it would appear more people went out and watched Thor, and the critics liked Thor a bit more. But yeah, I mean, this is that kind of thing that we get these days. Is that, producers, actors, everyone just starts, it's the blame game. There's always a reason for these things going down in flames. But the reason is never them, which I think is a shame. To sit there and say, oh, well, it's because Chloe Zhao won an Academy, therefore expectation was too high. Like, what nonsense are you talking there? Because your average Marvel moviegoer doesn't care about the Academy. They're not interested in the Academy. So to say that it's that is just baffling at best and is moronic at worst. And then to blame the critics, but also by virtue blaming the audience by saying, well, ladies and gents, there's no singular source material, so people aren't really familiar with it, so you just projected onto it what you wanted, and that wasn't the movie we made. It's like, oh god, come on now, behave. But I thought this would be comical. It'll be interesting. I need to do a deeper dive on Nate Moore and see what he's got producing coming up, because it'll be interesting to see if this is a tactic that he takes moving forwards, or whether he just changes his approach to being a producer and thus the creative force behind a movie. It'll be intriguing to see. But what do you guys think? What do you think about these statements? Do you think it's right? Do you think he's wrong? Do you think that the average Marvel viewer raised their expectations because Chloe Zhao got an Academy Award? Do you think that? Like, I honestly want to know, because I don't. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know down below in the comment section. If you're new here, please do hit subscribe. Also, ladies and gents, if you want to check out a bit of vlogs and stuff like that, I've got a second channel. It's down below in the description box. Check it out. You might really enjoy it. You might not, but check it out. It's for free. Follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. H Reviews. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.